Let me unterrify you. We're talking about reduced efficacy rates on some of the vaccines against the South African strain, but we're still talking about a shot that's 50% effective. That's like a standard flu shot. So the bottom line is all the vaccinations that all that data is reducing hospitalizations and deaths to basically zero and then preventing 50% of the transmission. That's a miracle. Like, we should talk about it accordingly. It's going to be a long couple months, but I don't think that has as much to do with the new strains and like variants and booster shots and all this stuff we're hearing about now than just the logistics of manufacturing and disseminating the vaccine. If we get that part right, you reduce deaths, you reduce infections, you stop the virus from mutating, so we won't have any more of these conversations. The economy going, right? And then the consequence of that, you can't economically hang on to the summer. Like, all the pieces are there. It's like, it sucks to read this stuff.
I mean, I think look, Johnson & Johnson 100% effective at preventing hospitalizations and death, which is huge, even against the South African variant, right? Look, I think when you talk to people about expectations, it's not just spin. Their concern is, the CDC has already said that in March, the UK variant will be the dominant strain here. It's 50% more transmissible. If a critical mass of people were vaccinated at that point, we wouldn't have to worry as much about it, right? Like, a critical mass of people are vaccinated in a country like Israel. The UK strain is all over the place there. It's still working. I think what they're concerned about is over the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, the UK strain takes over here. It's more transmissible. We still haven't gotten the vaccinations up yet, and so we will see another spike. That's what they're trying to prepare us for, which I think, is a real, genuine concern. Again, though, it all, and Tom, you mentioned it all comes back to they just gotta get people vaccinated faster, and they gotta move heaven and earth to do it. And I think Biden doesn't have to go out there and be a barometer every day about whether things are good or bad or in between, right? Like, I think we made this mistake with Obama. Here's exactly the state of the economy every single day. Like, the president doesn't need to be talking about that. Biden needs to be doing is talking every day about what they're doing to fix it, right? And like, he needs to get pissed when things don't go right, and he needs to show us that he's fighting like hell, and he needs to show people that he's running through a brick wall for people, and keep announcing progress, right? Like, today they announced $30 rapid at-home COVID tests that are 95% accurate. They're shipping to you. Incremental progress like that is what people are talking about.
Well, so I feel like I think that's right. I guess, like, I think we're combining two things. Like, one is the messaging around what's actually going on that's realistic and honest, that doesn't overpromise, and I think that's really important. We can be look, we're not in control of what strains emerge, right? We don't know what the future holds.
Right.
Here's what we know, what we can do. But the other piece of it to me that I think is important is, everybody's fucking sick of this, and people are giving up. And so, what is the best thing to tell a country that has been lied to, that feels like, that the people who have sacrificed feel let down by other people who haven't? You have healthcare professionals who are at their end. You have like a mental health crisis. You have a financial crisis. All of this happening at once. And I do think that there is some space for just some lighted. The end is in sight if we do these things, because the vaccine. Yeah, we need to roll the vaccine out, of course. But like, masks and social distancing still fucking work, and we've abandoned them. To large parts of the country, we've abandoned them. So. I think that's what I'm talking about. It's just like, if there's value to just signaling to people that the time is short, and that if they sacrifice a little while longer, because this 7 or 8 week period, that's the other piece of this, that like each of these, the next few weeks matter even more than the weeks that follow, right? Like, if we can do something for the next 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, whatever the numbers are based on these studies, like, a huge amount of death and a huge amount of pain is prevented if we do it right now as the vaccine is ramping up.
That's right. All right, let's talk about the future of the Republican Party, and specifically whether it looks more like Liz Cheney or Marjorie Taylor Greene. What a choice.
Speaking of diseased variants, here we go.
This week, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, just a courageous hero in his own right, will help decide the fate of both women. He'll choose whether or not to block a resolution kicking Cheney out of leadership because she voted to impeach the guy who incited a violent insurrection. He'll also meet with Greene. who's facing calls to be expelled from Congress after CNN and Media Matters surfaced some old social media activity where she liked a Facebook post calling for the assassination of Nancy Pelosi and FBI agents, heckled Parkland survivors, and blamed the California wildfires on a space laser controlled by a Jewish family. Green also believes the QAnon cult is worth listening to, that Muslims don't belong in government, that 9/11 was an inside job, that the Parkland and Sandy Hook shootings were faked, and that the Zionist supremacists are encouraging Muslim immigration, is what she said. So, most of these comments were known when she ran and won election to represent the 14th Congressional District in Northwest Georgia. Tommy, what can be done about her now? Already, freshman Democrat Cori Bush has asked for her office to be moved away from Greens for safety reasons.
I mean, it seems like there's three options. You can expel her from Congress. That takes a 2/3 vote, so it seems unlikely. You could censure her, which would just sort of condemn her. I think that has some bipartisan support. And then Democrats are now saying, if you don't strip her, saying to Kevin McCarthy, if the Republican Party won't strip her of her committee assignments, they will do it for them. I think she's on the House Education, Labor, the Help Committee, right? She's on the Labor Committee, Education, and then the Budget Committee. So, some powerful places.
Yeah, I saw. I think I saw in Politico today. They said if the Republican caucus in the House ends up stripping Liz Cheney from her leadership post, but doing nothing about Green, it'll be a real black eye for them heading into 2022. Yeah. No, I would say so. I would say that would be a black
two
eye.
demerits for you, Kevin McCarthy.
So, Lovett, kind of a broader question here. Green got a lot of coverage and attention this week. She's bound to get more. What do we do about this going forward? Should we ignore her? Should we make her the face of the Republican Party? How do you balance
that? Look, it's the same problem we've had in dealing with Trump for years. What do you do when this person feeds on attention and outrage, and yet also speaks for a huge percentage of the Republican Party at this point, and as you just pointed out, is more ascendant than the group of 10 House Republicans who had the audacity to tell the truth and vote to impeach Donald Trump. Tim Miller wrote in Rolling Stone about what these 10 Republicans are doing to try to start fighting against this radical, rabid, conspiracy-minded wing. Well, really, the Republican Party itself. And you read it, and man, it just has just some very strong Alamo vibes of just a group of people facing this racist, anti-Semitic